Let's take a look at this structure chart and let's see what this structure chart is showing. At the top level, this is the main module, right? At the top level, this is the main module, and this is basically telling us the problem that is going to be solved. And this main problem of calculating average has been broken down into 3 smaller modules or 3 subtasks, as we can see. Okay, just remember, these square boxes are basically called modules, right? And we can see that this is the top level module, and these square boxes are also modules, and these modules are basically subtasks, right? So to solve these problems, we have broken this main problem down into 3 parts. It's a top down design approach. Okay, what we can also see is that between these modules, between this module and this module, there are some parameters being passed, right? So there are some parameters being passed, we can see that, right? And there are some parameters being passed here also between this module and this module, and there is a parameter being passed between this module and this module also. Okay, so we've covered the basics. What we want to do now is we want to write pseudocode for this given structure chart. Can we write pseudocode for this? Okay, when we start writing pseudocode, the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to define what's happening here in the main module, right? See, this main module first places the call to this module input numbers. After that, this main module places a call to this module called calculate average, and finally this main module places a call to output average. So calls are being placed basically left to right, right? So the module on the left gets called first, then this module gets called, and then this module gets called, and all of these modules are being called from this main module, the averages module. So as far as the main module is concerned, the pseudocode is very simple. At first we are placing a call to input numbers, right? And we are passing 2 parameters, number 1 and number 2. We can see that in the diagram also. These are the 2 parameters, number 1 and number 2. And then we are placing a call to this module, calculate average, and we are passing 3 parameters, number 1, number 2 and average. And we can see that between these are the 3 parameters, right? So this main module is placing a call to this main module, right? And these are the 3 parameters being passed. Okay, and finally this is the third parameter, this is the third module being called, right? And we can see that here in our code. So writing the code for main module is very simple. We've passed the parameters, right? And we've called the modules, right? And we've ensured that the sequence is followed. This is the first one that gets called, then this is the second one, and then this is the third one. Okay, then it is possible that the examiner may ask us to describe these modules also, to write pseudocode for these modules also. Okay, and these are not very tough. We can see that we can get a good idea of what's happening in input numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to define these procedures also real quick. So what is input numbers going to do? What is the procedure for this? I'm going to write pseudocode for this, then I'm going to write pseudocode for this, and then I'm going to write pseudocode for this. Okay, as you can see, we have written down pseudocode for this procedure input numbers, and what you can also see is that I have made sure that there are 2 parameters here, number 1 and number 2, and I'm passing these by reference. Well, how do I know that these are being passed by reference? I'll give you a short tip. If on the structure chart you see that the parameters are being passed in an upwards direction, if the arrows are pointing upwards, right, this means that these parameters are being passed by reference. However, if there is a parameter that is pointing downwards, if there is a value being passed that is pointing downwards, if the arrow is pointing downwards, then that parameter has been passed by value. So in this case, For input numbers, both parameters are pointing upwards, so these are both being passed by reference, and that is exactly what we've done here. We've passed the first parameter by reference, and we've also passed the second parameter by reference. Okay, now we want to write pseudocode for this procedure, calculate average, right? And what we can see here is that there are three parameters being passed. Two of these parameters, number 1 and number 2, are pointing downwards, so they are going to be passed by value, and this one, average, is being passed upwards, so this is going to be passed by reference. And this is where I have defined my procedure, calculate average, and you can see, the first parameter is being passed by value, the second one is being passed by value, and the third one is being passed by reference. Okay, by the way, I should have written the data type here. So by reference, average is basically going to be a real number, right? And so there are three parameters being passed, right? By reference, by value, and by value. And inside of this procedure, what we are doing is basically we are calculating the average, right, using this formula. So we have written two procedures down. We know now how to decide whether a parameter is being passed by reference or by value. And now finally we are going to define this third and final procedure, right? And in this case, you should note that there is only one parameter being passed, and it is going downwards, which means what? Which means it's going to be passed by value. And this is our pseudocode for the third procedure. We've defined the third procedure. Sorry, I've not written this down properly, so I need to erase this. Let me just rewrite this procedure again. Okay, finally we have our procedure, output average, and we can see that we're just passing one parameter, and that parameter is being passed by value. So it's not very difficult to take a look at a structure chart and write down the corresponding pseudocode. Okay, can we draw a flowchart from this structure diagram? And yes, we can. So we start, right? The first call is placed to procedure call input numbers. So I'm just going to try and write call input numbers, right? I don't really need to write call, but you can write call also, right? The keyword call can be there, call input numbers, and I'm also going to write the parameters being passed, number 1 comma number 2, right? So these were the two parameters that were being passed. So that's the first thing that happens. The second call, let me just use a bigger rectangle so I have space to write, would be to call calculate average, right? That's the second procedure being called, and this has three parameters, right? Number 1, number 2, and average. Don't mind my writing, I hope you just understand what I'm doing here, okay? And then finally, the third procedure gets called, and in this case, what? Call output average, and we're just passing one parameter, average in this case, and then this ends, right? So that's a simple flowchart that has been drawn using this structure chart diagram. Okay, let's take a look at another structure chart, and in this case this is the main module, right? This shows the problem that we are trying to solve, and this is basically a number guessing game which has been subdivided into these three modules, right? These three subtasks. And what we can also see is that this subtask has been subdivided or has been broken down into two more subtasks. Okay, now in this diagram what we also see is this diamond shape, which means what? Output message is a module, which may place a call to output congratulations module, or output message may place a call to the output consolation message module, right? So it can place a call to this module or this module based on a condition, and the condition has been given here. If guess equals secret number, the user has made a guess, right? And if the guess that the user made equals the secret number, if that condition is true, then this module gets called. But however, if the user made the wrong guess and the guess that the user made was not equal to secret number, then this module gets called, right? This one. Okay, so this is a simple game. Let's see if we can write pseudocode for this. Okay, so what we've done here is that we have written down pseudocode for the action taking place in the main module, right? So these are the three calls that are being placed, right? And there is one parameter being passed. So there is one parameter being passed here, and in this call there is one parameter being passed, and we can see that there is one parameter being passed here, and in this call two parameters are being passed, so we have both the parameters here. So that's the action taking place as far as the first module is concerned. Now we can define each of these procedures, right? Each of these modules we can define, right? And even these are modules, so these can also be defined. So let's quickly define these. Okay, we've defined our procedure generate secret number, and basically okay, there is a mistake here because we are not supposed to input the secret number, rather we are supposed to generate a random number. And the way to do that in pseudocode is to write this statement: random number 125 1 5. This will generate a random number between 1 and 5. That random number which is generated is going to be assigned to secret number. So that's the pseudocode for this module, right? And remember, the arrow is going upwards, so we are passing this parameter by reference. Next, we've defined the procedure input guess, right? And this procedure we've defined here, and this was a very simple procedure. We are just taking input from the user, and the parameter should not be secret number here, rather it should be guess, right? So it should be guess. So we are passing guess by reference. You can see that guess is pointing upwards, right? So we are passing guess by reference. And next we have to define this procedure output message, right? And I have defined it here, right? Now the procedure output message is taking two parameters by value, the guess and the secret number, right? And then it is calling either this procedure or this procedure, depending on whether guess equals secret number or guess does not equal secret number, right? So based on this condition, we are either going to call this procedure or call this procedure, right? So it was fairly simple and straightforward, and we can see it from the diagram also. This module has been further subdivided into two more modules, two more subtasks, right? So this is a separate module, meaning this is a separate procedure, and this is a separate procedure, right? So we need to define these two also. And these two procedures we've defined here, right? There was no parameter being passed to these procedures, and they're simply outputting a few messages, right, related to the game. Whether if a person has won the game, then you're saying congratulations, and if he's lost the game, you're wishing him better luck for next time. Okay, so very simple and straightforward. We can, once we have the structure chart, it is easy to write pseudocode. Okay, and now we are quickly going to draw a flow chart from this structure chart. Okay, So we'll start with the main module, right? First thing we called was what? We said, this is the start point, and then we placed our first call, which was to this procedure called generate secret number, and we were passing one parameter, which was secret number. Okay, so that was the first call we placed. Then the second call we placed was to the procedure input guess, right? Input guess, and we were passing one parameter, right? Then the third call we placed was to output message, right? So we're going to write that here, call output message, and we are passing two parameters, right? Guess and secret number. So guess comma secret number. Okay, so just remember, for procedures we use this symbol, right? For procedures or subroutines we use this symbol. Okay, so that's what we're using here, right? And from output message, from within this module, we make a choice, right? There's an if condition, and we either go to this module or we go to this module, right? So we are going to implement that now. We're going to say is guess equal to secret number? Is guess equal to secret number? That's the question we are asking, and if the answer is yes, then we are going to call this module, right? Call output congratulations. This is the name of the module, output congratulations. And if the answer is no, then we are going to place a call to this module. Call is placed to output consolation message, right? So that's the procedure we are calling, and after this the program ends. So hopefully you understand how to draw a flowchart from a structure chart. Okay, I just want to discuss one more point. What if we want to allow the user to keep guessing until he is able to guess the secret number? So until the time that the user cannot guess the secret number, he keeps trying again and again. How do we add that information to this structure chart? How do we make sure that the user can keep guessing, right, until he's able to guess the secret number correctly? Okay, what I've done is I've just moved this module a bit to the side so that it's easier for me to include the information. I want to allow the user to take as many guesses as possible until he's able to guess the secret number. So basically the secret number is going to be generated once only, right? But these things, this module, the user can input guess many times, and each time a message is going to be displayed. So these things need to get repeated, right, until the user is able to make that guess, right? So this is what we are going to do. We're going to say that you can keep repeating this part of the structure chart until secret number equals until guess equals secret number, right? So that's what we want to say. What we are saying is that this is a loop, right? What we've indicated is that this is a loop, and this is the condition for which the loop is running. This is outside of the loop, but these two so all the other modules are inside the loop, right? So this process keeps getting repeated until the user makes the right guess. Hopefully it's easier to understand. So I'm going to quickly draw a flow chart for this situation, right? Alright, so let me start with the flowchart. We're going to start from here, this point, right? So we're going to say start, and the first call is made to generate secret number, right? So I'm just going to place a call to generate secret number, right? And there's one parameter. I don't have space to write, but I'm going to write secret number in here, and then I have a loop after that. So there's the loop that starts after that inside. So I'm just going to you can just draw a circle indicating there's a loop starting, right? You can do that also. So this is also one way that we can show a loop, right? So there's a loop starting, and inside the loop the first procedure that gets called is what? The first procedure that gets called is input guess. So we're placing a call to input guess, and there's one parameter guess, right? And then we are doing what? Then we are calling output message, right? Call, this is what we're doing next, right? Call output message, right? And we're passing two parameters, guess and secret number. I don't have space, so I'm only going to write G and S, but you're supposed to write the full name of the parameters being passed, right? In the exam you're supposed to write the full name of the parameters being passed. Okay, and next what I am going to do is include this if statement, right? I'm going to say there is this diamond shape here, and I'm going to ask, is guess equal to secret number? Is guess equal to secret number? That's what I'm asking. And if the answer is yes, what are we going to do? If the answer is yes, then we are going to call this method, right? This procedure, and we're going to say what? Call output congratulations. And if the answer is no, we're going to be calling this procedure, call output consolation message. Output consolation message. Sorry, I don't have enough space to write, but I hope you can understand what I'm doing here. Okay, now this does not end here, right? After this, what we want to check is okay, no, what we want to do here is, if this is the case, if guess equals secret number, then we are going to stop. We don't need to run again because the number has been guessed, right? So we're going to end here. But if this is the case, that guess is not equal to secret number, and we've called the consolation message, we've done this, we've come here, then this means the user can get a second chance, get another chance to make the input. So what we're going to do here is, from this point we are going to go back up to the loop. So if the user does not make the right guess, if guess is not equal to secret number, we are first going to output the consolation message, and then we are going to go back to the loop. The user is going to guess again, the guess is now going to be guess and the secret number are going to be sent to the output message. Once again we are going to check if guess equals secret number or not. If the answer is no, we loop again, and if the answer is yes, we output the congratulations message and we stop.